Hey, what's up everyone? It's Georgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber, and I present to you all Beyond Wrasslin episode 14, and it's on no other than the great, legendary, one of the best big men in wrestling, and that is Yokozuna, and I could not wait to work on this because I feel like Yokozuna is one of those great wrestlers that don't get talked about enough, and I don't think many people know about him. At least that the people like the newer wrestling fans coming up, I feel like they don't know about him. And I think with this platform and with this show, I guess you could call it a show or podcast, I figured that I can use it to educate people on how cool Yokozuna is. And so, the great history, of Yokozuna, it starts out with, he was born as Rodney Anwai on October 2nd, 1966, and it's crazy because, I found out about Yokozuna on the WWF WrestleMania arcade game, and, at the time, I thought that he was just like a character created for that game. I didn't know that he was actually a real wrestler until years later. But Yokozuna, he was one of the most fun characters in that game. He has so much great power, speed, everything, And I found it funny, like, he could throw salt in people's eyes. He sat on them and you couldn't even get up whenever he did his finishing move. And then when you hit his character in the game, he has chickens and stuff coming out of him. It was just, or turkeys in one of them. I don't know, but it was crazy. And look at this, like he could just do whatever he wanted to his opponents, both in that video game and in real life. He was just off the charts. And wow, he just swung him around like he was a rag doll. But man, Yokozuna, he actually had his in-ring debut back in 1984, but he made an impact, facing people like Macho Man Randy Savage, just decimating people with his amazing strength. And he was just so much fun, to watch in the ring, and I just couldn't get enough of watching. When I found out about some of his matches, and Yokozuna, he had amazing power. He weighed at 558 pounds. He was 6'4". He had legendary feuds with Kamala, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, which a lot of people don't remember the Hulk Hogan feud, but for him to beat Hulk Hogan at the time was a huge deal. He had this great legendary feud with Lex Luger in the year of 1993, and that was a huge deal back then. Yeah, and so it probably wasn't the best feud, but it really put Yokozuna on the map. He took out everybody that was big in the WWF back then. He even won the tag team titles with Owen Hart, which was really cool. And wow, he was just unforgettable in the ring, and then outside of the ring, a lot of people enjoyed his company. He was always making everybody laugh. And another cool fact is that he was trained by Alpha Anoa, of the Wild Samoans. He had such great training from legendary, Samoan wrestlers. And the thing is, at the time, I don't think anyone knew that Yokozuna was actually Samoan. No one actually really knew that. And because he was built from Japan. and he had Mr. Fuji as his manager and everything. And as you can see right here, man, he was taking his time. Oh my God, he had a huge head. He like when he headbutts you, it looked like it'll send you into a concussion or something. He was just off the charts. And I just love the gameplay that he had from the WrestleMania arcade game. And I wish they would remaster this game so that people can get a chance to play as Yokozuna. I know that he was in the WWE 2K14 game, and that was pretty cool too. And it's funny, I was just talking about Yokozuna, and there you have it. He was you got this view right here. The actual match, him and Lex Luger. As you can see, there was turkeys that came out of him whenever Yokozuna would take damage. And another fun fact about WrestleMania Arcade, this game was developed by Ed Boon of Mortal Kombat, so it had the Mortal Kombat team working on it. So I think that was one reason why I love this game, and I love the character of Yokozuna. And so yeah, so many great memories from this game, this character, he really brought like, a unique flavor to the world of wrestling, back in the mid 90s. Unfortunately, his weight, I think, was a big problem towards like the end of 97. I believe that's where his weight started to become a problem for him, and I don't think he can control it, because while his size was one of his greatest feats, it was also one of his worst challenges, to deal with as a wrestler. And and that's really sad, and I believe he really did try, but it's just something else, but I don't want people to remember Yokozuna for that. I want them to remember, all the accolades and all the things that he was able, to accomplish in such a short time period in the world of wrestling. He became the WWF champion like within maybe his second year, I believe, in the company. And that's literally unheard of. Like, no one, you rarely hear of someone coming in like that, being so dominant and winning, the biggest, prize in the business, and them not being white, of course. He was Samoan, a person of color, like. And that's just unheard of. You don't really hear too many stories about that. You probably won't, and that alone in itself was groundbreaking, and I believe he was the Intercontinental Champion. He won the tag team titles. He held it for a long time with Owen Hart, as I said. He even joined up with Jim Cornette's faction, and faction. I think he did some dealings with, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, his $1 Million Corporation, when they was trying to take out the Undertaker and take his urn and use it for, and I think, Ted DiBiase was going to try to turn it into gold or something like that. And yeah, Yokozuna, he has some really cool matches that I enjoy with the Undertaker, the casket matches, when they would early in their the process of doing those matches back then. Those were such great matches and feuds and to enjoy, and the build up to those matches were great, and definitely go and watch the one that Yokozuna had with Undertaker. I think it was in '92, if I'm not mistaken, and it was I think it was at the Royal Rumble. I could be wrong, but definitely look it up. The Yokozuna versus the Undertaker in 1992, and you will see such a really great matchup. And I don't think Yoko had many bad matches. I don't think until like towards the end of his career, I believe, because I think his weight was interfering with his performance. But still, he was still able to put on an impressive feat of strength in his matches, and he just brought a level of explosiveness in the ring, and it wasn't boring to watch. He was not boring to watch whatsoever. He really wasn't. and he had brought a lot of unique moves to the wrestling game that we haven't seen any other big man do. And especially the bonsai drop where he would jump in the air and sit on his opponents. Oh man, I could never get tired of seeing that move, you know. And so yeah, Yoko may not be around here now, but he will always be alive in the hearts of all the wrestling fans that remember him and had a chance to watch his matches growing up. So yeah, definitely you guys go on YouTube or go on the WWE Network, in fact, and look up Yokozuna stuff, you know, and you will be very entertained with what he did in the ring. And I really appreciate all of you for taking time out of your busy work week to watch this episode of Beyond Wrasslin, or Wrasslin as I would like to say in my southern voice, or whatever. If there's any other wrestlers you would like for me to cover on this, on this talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, let me know in the comment section, and I will get started on those. And let me know some of your favorite memories if you did have a chance to see Yokozuna, and those other wrestlers you want me to do episodes on. Let me know some of your favorite moments from them, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out in the next video or episode, and I will mention those moments. So until next time, you all have a blessed day and stay safe, okay? Peace out.